This is the Freeheel Life Podcast, episode number 70. I'm your host, Josh Madsen, coming at you from the Freeheel Life shop in Salt Lake City, Utah. And we're back once again, and it's springtime, everybody. Things are warming up out there. I've been seeing, especially people that are in a little lower elevations, are definitely starting to get after the spring corn harvest, and that's nice to see. To be honest, here in Utah, we haven't quite gotten to that point. It's been a lot more wintry, fresh snow, couple powder days, and at elevation, it's definitely staying cool. So it's been nice, but I think we're heading towards warmer days and some spring corn cycles of our own. So that'll be nice. Besides, everybody's starting to think about doing other things out there: golf, mountain biking, climbing, hiking, walking, paddling, whatever else you might like to do in the warmer months. And for all of you below the equator, hopefully you're starting to think about skiing. I have not had a chance to really look into if restrictions are going to be freed up a little bit in places like Australia, New Zealand, South America. So if you're listening down there, please shoot me a message, podcast@freeheellife.com. Let me know what the news is for the Southern Hemisphere. I would love to hear what's going on. And hopefully you guys are preparing for an epic fall and winter ahead, which is always something good to look forward to. On that note, I will be running the podcast every week, as always, on Mondays, talking about Telemark and related subjects. So if you are in the Northern Hemisphere and you want to tune in, I'm going to keep it going. And if you want to tune out, I'm going to keep it going anyways. So I'll be here and we'll have plenty of stuff to talk about, and it never really seems to end. There's constantly a growing list of topics, history, gear, and rumors. Just kidding. Not really rumors. I'm not really the TMZ style kind of news guy. But there's a lot of stuff going on, and we're going to keep talking about it, and I will try to keep it as relevant as possible. So real quick, newsroom and notes. The Freeheel Life team, we put on a fantastic event, if I do say so myself, which is not an event. It's not sanctioned. And to really get details, you're going to have to message us. But it's called the Smelly Knee Pad. It is for bragging rights. And it's happening on Sunday, April 11th. And we'll be meeting up to do a little leather and paint shred on some vintage gear. We do it every year. It's fun. If you're in Salt Lake or you want to travel out for that weekend, we're going to be hanging up in Little Cottonwood Canyon. And shoot us a message either at the podcast email or on our social media platforms, and we'll get you the details. And it's just a good time. Good time for us to all hang out, but we like to announce it and invite those to come out. And if you think it's a serious event, it's not a serious event, but we will make it sound so serious that you're going to laugh. And sometimes I need to describe that to people because they're like, "What? Oh, retro competition? Oh man, that sounds super intense." And it's really not, because if you saw the venue, it's a couple 100 yards of skiing when it really comes down to it. The judges may or may not be under the influence of a beverage or two, and it's really just overall impression. So come check it out. It's a good time. Closing day for the shop, April 16th, which is a Friday, and then we'll be just rolling on the internet, and we'll be shipping stuff. And we're actually going to be pushing through. We've got some awesome lifestyle stuff we're going to be putting out through the spring and summer. Like I said, the relaunch of Telemark Skier magazine is going to be coming up here in the next week or two. I still don't have an exact date, but Dossie and I have been working on that extremely hard, trying to get some of that premium content ready to go kind of in the queue. And we would love for you guys to be a part of that. If you don't know what we're talking about, go back a few episodes in the podcast to the relaunch of Telemark Skier magazine via telemarkskier.com and find out what's going on. But we're going to keep this thing rolling. There's snow somewhere around the world, and there's always people living the Freeheel life. So we're going to keep it rolling every day of the week. And hopefully you'll join us. And maybe you'll just pop in if you're more summertime and doing your thing. But just know we're going to be here, and we want to make sure we're putting out information that you can find any time of the year, which is going to be great. So today's episode, this is a fun one. Kind of fun. I don't know. Let me explain. Every once in a while, my inbox and inboxes get blown up because somebody will write a ridiculous piece on the internet about telemark skiing. And so then everybody thinks because, oh, hey, Madsen, he's the telemark guy, I'll send him this thing. And so then I get bombarded by friends, people, associates, you name it. Madsen, did you see this article? Normally, let me preface this by saying that normally I just, I'll check them out. I'll read them. I'll get a chuckle out of it. And generally speaking, I just don't care that much to do anything. And I think the last time this happened was Powder Magazine put out an article about Telemark being dead, and this was a number of years ago. And you know, look, it was just, I read it and I was like, it was completely irrelevant, that particular one. Everyone's like, you need to do a rebuttal. You need to write the magazine and write Powder Magazine. And I remember I told some of my friends and people close to me, I'm like, honestly, Powder Magazine is going to die long before Telemark dies. So, and rebuttals are not my thing. And honestly, I never understand why people from those types of magazines, which, you know, are an alpine ski magazine, that's what they write about. So it's strange to me that they write about telemark skiing. If you know my philosophy on building our own industry and having our own, you know, source of media and products and all that stuff, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So, so funny enough, my prediction back then about Powder Magazine dying first and Telemark Skiers living on, if you're familiar with what happened, Powder Magazine is no longer. So, and of course, I wish no bad amongst to the writers and the people that do not have jobs anymore, because that's, you know, that's not cool, you know, and I want those people to succeed. But the concept of you know, them declaring the death of Telemark, that seems silly to me. So anyways, on that note, I did not write a rebuttal. I didn't really write anything. And that was it. Well, so fast forward to this past week on looks like the 24th of March, 2021, I start getting bombarded with this article, and I'm sure many of you have seen this. It's been posted in our forum online, on Facebook, and everybody was sending this to me. And the title of the piece is, and this is in Ski Mag, so Ski Magazine or skimag.com. So I'm going to give this guy a little play because he wrote a piece, and this is by a gentleman by the name of Paddy O'Connell. Wrote a piece in the culture section called Telemark Skier, Why Are You the Way That You Are? And when I saw this, I was like, all right, here we go. Because first off, the very first thing I notice is the photo that goes with the piece. And the photo is of what I would characterize as now this is a ripping photo. Let me start there. This is a ripping photo of a woman telemark skiing in probably 2001. And I know that because her setup is like a pair of K2, what appears to be work stinks. She's got Bumblebee T1s. She's got a massive backpack on. The style, it's just the style. She was styling for that time. But when I see a photo, this is 2021. So I see like a 20-year-old photo that is very, very much not from this time period of Telemark. Now I'm interested. You've intrigued me, Patty O'Connell. And so today, what I'm going to do is give you some extra play, Patty O'Connell. But I'm going to read your piece, and I want to comment as we go along, because I don't want this to be a rebuttal, like I said, but I think as we read through this, I would like to add my editor's notes, so to speak. And I thought this would be fun, because when these pieces pop up, it's incredibly important for one, and just let's put it out there. Looking at this gentleman's writing and other forms and whatnot. I mean, it's a satirical piece in and of itself. So, and I guess this is the other advice I want to give all of us telemark skiers out there. Don't take stuff so personally, like, look, I've been there. I mean, I've been a telemark skier for like going on 3 decades. I get it. I've heard all the jokes. I've heard all the party jokes. I've had people pull me aside, literally in the lift line, and like talk shit to me and like make stupid jokes and yell at me from the lift that my binding's broken. I mean, that happened to me like literally a week ago. It's weird. It's weird that this long into it, I'm like, wow, this is so bizarre that this is still happening. And I think that's kind of why, when I read this piece, I was like, I've got to respond to this in some way, because it's so fascinating to me that like you have nothing better to write about than like what's going on in the alpine ski world. Like, it's very, very, very bizarre to me, Patty O'Connell. And what I would also, I hate to say it, but the last time this happened, I just mentioned it, the last time that this happened, the telemark gods heard, and the magazine disappeared. So I'm just saying, I'm not trying to say I see the future. I'm just saying it could happen. You just want to make, like, this is the OG. We're the OG of all snow sports. This is the original turn. So just, tread lightly. Like, we just don't, we want you to have a place to write about alpine skiers. Like, and so, don't go too far. Don't go off the deep end and find out too much about telemark. You don't need to write about it. It's all good. So I'm going to dig into this, and let's see what this article has to say. And I'm going to give a little commentary. All right. So, Telemark Skier, why are you the way that you are? And it says, we've been talking and we're a little worried about you and also your knees, by Patty O'Connell. It's not a great look to have your mouth agape in confusion while it's filled with deli meat and cheese. But I can't help myself. I'm chomping on a sandwich atop my skis. Placed binders down in a snowbank on the bypass road at Snowbird when the old truck pulls in next to me. Out jumps a salt and pepper shaggy-haired skier. He climbs into the truck bed, drops trow, and pulls up 2 neoprene knee braces. He notices my noticing him and tells me it's been a year since his double knee replacement. And that's when I see his boots and bindings. And I ask why he still telemarks after surgery like that. What, with all the improvements in alpine and touring equipment? He shrugs his shoulders. I don't know, man. He says, well, the rest of us don't either. So, like I said, first off, take it with a grain of salt, everybody. Don't get angry. You know, this is probably not real. And that's where I'm going to start. Paragraph 1, and this is so fascinating to me. So, 1, Patty O'Connell. It sounds like you live in Salt Lake. So this is going to get great because at the end, you're obviously going to get an invite to go Telemark Ski with me because I'm pretty sure you live here in Salt Lake City. And I'm so stoked that we're going to go Telemark together. But paragraph number 1. Here is what is so funny because this is like the most cliche, and this is kind of like this overarching theme of these things when people write them, is they're not writing about something that is happening in 2021. And that is what is so fascinating to me. So I'm not totally sure if this is fictional, like, satirical fiction or, kind of like, hey, I had an experience and any sort of riffing off it for the piece. But what's so funny is like, 1, the bypass road, if you're not from Salt Lake, so Snowbird and Alta are both next to each other in Little Cottonwood Canyon. And there's kind of this one little road that kind of bypasses the main section of 2-lane and goes from right at the edge of Alta town down to Snowbird. And there's some skiing that can be had where, you might, you could park down there, but you could ski down to the road and like do kind of a road lap and catch a bus type of thing. So that's where this is taking place. And, it sounds like, they're at their trucks or something. So probably parked on the bypass, skied down to the road if this actually happened. And so first off, here's the first suspect thing. He pulls up 2 neoprene knee braces. Okay. I know that he's talking about double knee replacement, but look, Patty O'Connell, the first thing that happened, you talked about this guy's peppery hair. You're obviously portraying him as this old school tele skier. Guess what? Any old school tele skier that's been doing it as long as you're portraying this guy, he may have some neoprene knee braces. I'll give you the neoprene knee braces, but guess what? You're going to see knee pads, bro. You're going to see like LifeLink knee pads. You're going to see Black Diamond or Arc'teryx knee pads. You're going to see something like that. You're going to see knee pads. So the fact that it's a little suspect that you didn't mention the knee pads, but you mentioned the knee braces. So as far as, this double knee replacement. So this idea of suggesting, and this comes up a lot. And one, if you're a doctor out there, like, hit me up. We've talked about some of this stuff on the podcast, but I've never had a doctor on here, and there's always the question, is it easier on your knees to telemark ski? I don't know this. I don't know actual data to feed you people out there. I've heard a lot of people say it's easier on your knees because you're not locked at the heel. So it's not, it's not yanking on your knee the same way that like a alpine binding would. But even if this guy got a double knee replacement, we have some customers I've seen have double knee replacements and they still telemark ski. It's doable. So now, is the double knee replacement because of telemark skiing? I'm another suspect piece in here. But yeah, so really the idea of asking why he's telemarking after surgery, and then Patty O'Connell, you go into this idea of improvements in alpine and touring equipment. Why are you still telemarking? Then you ask him, and you make this guy sound really sad. Like, I don't know, man. And then you go on, well, the rest of us don't either. You don't know why he's telemarking? All right, Patty O'Connell, let me tell you why he's still telemark skiing. It's the turn. You know that terrible telemark joke where you know, how do you know it's a telemark skier? How many telemark skiers does it take to screw in a light bulb? You know that joke, Patty O'Connell, where it's like it takes 4 guys, one guy to turn it, and 3 guys to say, nice turn, dude. I mean, come on. Like, he's doing it for the turn because the turn is better. It's amazing for the right people. It's not better for the wrong people, trust me. So I say that with a little caveat. Like I always say, it's a personality choice, not a logistical choice. So the idea of like you not knowing why this guy's telemarking, it's funny that you're kind of portraying it like this guy doesn't know why he's doing it. The guy just got double knee surgery, man. He literally just got both of his knees worked on, and he's out there dropping knees. That's because it's that much better. Those pow turns are that much better. They're amazing. So that's why he's doing it, Patty O'Connell. He's out there ripping telemark turns because it's that good. And just to be clear on this idea of why hasn't he moved on, this is a key point. If you haven't listened to any of my podcasts in the past, just to reiterate this basic principle of alpine and touring equipment getting better, so therefore why would you telemark ski? This premise, this thought line of thinking is wrong. It's simply wrong, because what it's doing is saying that alpine and telemark are on one evolutionary plane. Meaning, like in this particular case, you know, you had a telemark binding, your heel is not attached, and that somehow along the evolutionary plane, the heel became locked down, and like you've evolved into an alpine skier. Now, if you want to take that to backcountry, it is correct. Most people access the backcountry through telemark from the late 70s all the way through the early 2000s, and then AT skiing, you know, Dynafit bindings come into the picture, and people start alpine touring. And the idea that you didn't evolve to alpine touring is completely wrong, because we're talking about some people, yes, left telemark as backcountry skiers to go to AT. But here's the other thing. Telemark skiers that were telemark skiers, like myself, we kept evolving, Patty O'Connell. And it's fantastic, because right now, 2021, in this last 20 years, we've had incredible, I always say this is one of the most incredible times in telemark binding technology. We've got, not only did 75 millimeter bindings become epic, and what I mean by epic is free pivot touring mode for backcountry touring, customization in the pivot position, multiple spring options. That's in 75 millimeter. Then you've got NTN bindings. And then on top of that, you have Tecto NTN bindings, some releasability like in the Majo binding, pin touring if you're into that, and a second heel connection with completely different boots and bindings. So this idea that we are like dragging our knuckles still to this day, we are proto man and woman, and we have not made it to becoming human species on snow, is ridiculous. So, oh, Patty O'Connell, we're not even through the first paragraph. Oh, this is so good. I'm so stoked. Paragraph number 2. Like the reddish orange stain that clings to Tupperware long after you've eaten the leftover spaghetti, telemarkery refuses to scrub away from skiing. Just when I think that I've seen the last creaky knee drop, a homemade wool hat, a monocle adorned dude named Jasper, or Moon Spirit smears a pigeon-toed turn just below me as I ride the lift. And there I sit, wondering what in the actual hell Telliers are still doing on those prehistoric bindings and boots. So here we are again, Patty O'Connell. We're suggesting that somehow we have not evolved to the higher being that you are as an alpine skier. And it's fantastic. I love this. Because part of the charm about being a telemark skier is not people that alpine ski. Some of them are not going to get it. And a lot of people are going to get it. Like I said, back to the personality choice. The people that see it, a good telemark, look, if you watch a shitty telemark skier, like, yeah, it looks hard and it looks terrible. But guess what? That person is in their journey of telemark. They're literally fine-tuning they're fine-tuning, they're learning. That could be day one that you're seeing them. But a really honed telemark skier is rocking and rolling. So, this idea that we are some like stain clinging to the Tupperware, and that the homemade wool hat and the monocle, I've never. I kind of botched that word as I was reading. I was like, did he really use that word? I mean, this is like I don't even know where you got that, Patty O'Connell. This idea, a monocle. Okay. I mean, look, here's the thing. This perpetuating of the wool knickered telemark skier or the wool hat guy or the old school. What's so funny is this was something I remember back in the early 2000s. It was like, when I first got in the telemark business, it was like, oh, we're fighting. We got to fight the hippies. We got to fight the hippies, because this is modern telemark skiing. And, honestly, it kind of got to a point where it was kind of ridiculous because not really that many there's some hippie guys and girls out there, dreadlocks and, tie-dye shirts. But what's funny is that, and I made a movie in 2010 called Hippies, Punks, and Misfits, because literally what I started realizing, because here I am, I'm kind of like a punk rock dude. I'm tattooed and I got piercings and I'm going to these telly movies and I'm seeing hippies. But you know what I'm seeing also? Every walk of life. I'm seeing like the lawyer, I'm seeing like the dirtbag living in his car. I'm seeing like, the girl that works at the coffee shop. There's like the gearhead. There's the nerdy guy. There's the jock. Like, guess what? There's one thing that ties all telemark skiers together, and that's you like to do hard shit. You like to put in work, and you like to fine tune things over a long period of time. So, all I wanted to point out is the funniest part about paragraph 2 is this idea of perpetuating, especially as a rider, Patty O'Connell. I'm disappointed because I would love for you to come and meet telemark skiers in 2021. I think you'd actually be surprised. I mean, it may be difficult for you to understand like our grunts because we haven't evolved our language yet. So I know that might be tough, but we'll do our best. Maybe we can draw something in the sand for each other and maybe we can communicate that way. So, and prehistoric bindings and boots. We already went over that. So, moving on to paragraph number 3. Now, I understand that eons ago, when skiers had scared away brontosauruses from clomping down all the untracked powder, telemark skiing solved the mobility problem in terms of ease of use and weight of the backcountry traveling wiggler. But then, around when we invented fire, the wheel, and smiling, AT bindings, boots, and skis surpassed any telemark claim on efficiency in the mountains. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this one because I think we covered most of this. Very, very, very strange. This is all very, very strange. It's strange to use Brontosaurus too, man. Like I would have, T-Rex or like a Velociraptor, like something aggressive. A Brontosaurus, I mean, like I'm pretty sure they just ate plants and stuff, man. So very, very interesting literary choices, I must say. Paragraph number 4, jumping in. I've heard telly skiers defend their devotion by contending that the difficulty is the allure, which is a brow furrowing statement. When given the choice between a calculator and a slide ruler, no one refuses them and pulls an abacus out of their backpack. Tallying is the Microsoft Outlook of the skiing world. Sure, it kind of gets the job done, but it should come with a wheelbarrow's worth of extra strength ibuprofen for all the frustration and pain that it causes. Patty O'Connell, buddy, this is it. You nailed it in this paragraph. Because this idea of defending our devotion by contending that the difficulty is the allure, you nailed it, Patty O'Connell. I'm so proud of you, man. Because here's the thing. It is hard. And that is the allure. It is difficult. And that is why people like to do it. Because it gives you a life cycle of learning that is going to allow the individual to find a starting point based on their abilities, based on, like you said, their devotion. And it's, and that's it, is what you put into it, what you put in is what you're going to get out. Much like many, many things in life. And I think of anything that you've said so far this is probably the most accurate. The idea that it's sort of archaic, and this is what, look, all joking aside, everybody, the main thing I want to point out here is this is why these articles are so ridiculous and I never respond to them. Although this is kind of enjoyable, I will say that. But the part of the reason I don't respond is because they're so far off base that it kind of doesn't really make any sense. But I thought the responsible thing to do is make sure that, that we fact check a little bit. So all funniness aside, satire aside, these are funny things to read. And I want to make sure that people also out there have the ability to see Telemark for what it is in 2021, because there's actually some pretty cool stuff going on. Patty O'Connell, you might have got the ibuprofen thing right. There might be some pain associated with it. I'm okay with that though. See, that's the thing. I think that's probably where we differ, which is okay too. We can have differing opinions. But sometimes the pain's good. I think, it's, iron sharpens iron type of deal. Moving on, it should be noted that I have never tallied. Patty O'Connell, this is your lucky day, buddy. Guess what? Here is my invite to you, Patty O'Connell. Come to the Freeheel Life. Make sure you ask for me personally. Say, I am Patty O'Connell. And you must say that when you come through the door. You have to say, hello, I am Patty O'Connell, the writer. And the Freeheel Life team will know who Patty O'Connell is, because I will make sure they know who Patty O'Connell is. But guess what? We're going to hook you up. We're going to get you set up on the latest and greatest non-prehistoric Telemark gear. And Patty O'Connell, I'm going to take you skiing. We're going to go Telemark skiing, and it's going to be so rad. And we're going to film it if we can get you to agree to that. And hopefully we can go out and do some skiing. So let me continue. It should be noted that I've never tallied, which may cause you to think that my confused response to the genuflected turn holds no sand. But it should also be noted that I have never tried a dog turd casserole either, and yet I still just know it ain't for me. Patty O'Connell, I'm not going to make you eat a dog turd casserole, but I am going to make you go Telemark skiing for this one. It's going to be good. My friend Hannah, an adult wearer of Crocs. None of us wear Crocs, by the way, which is weird. Which may seem unrelated, but is not. Comes from the knee-bending stronghold of Durango, Colorado, and has tallied for nearly 30 years. This season, she became the last member of her formerly tallying family to finally buy a modern AT setup. Quote, I feel like I'm going through puberty again, unquote, Hannah says with a sheepish giggle. Quote, it's all very awkward, but they're really fun. Close quote. Hannah, don't fold to peer pressure. But if you want to go AT ski, that's totally fine. Like we're all cool with that. This kind of brings up a funny thing because there is a true, I've never brought this up on the podcast, but I've thought about it a lot. There's sort of like telly shame. Like we shouldn't I've thought about this one for a long time because it's really funny. Because you guys probably know this. You'll have like a friend who's like in your telly squad, right? And like maybe you don't see him for a while, right? And like they move somewhere else and then they start alpine skiing and whatever. And I see this all the time, right? Especially when I was in the front of the shop a lot. Like people would come in, we'd be getting to know them. And you'd be like, hey, what's going on? You know, hey, Bob, like I haven't seen you forever. And like, instead of being like, oh yeah, I haven't seen you forever too, man. Like, how are things going? Like the first thing out of their mouth is like, man, I don't telly ski anymore. Like, I know I'm in the shop and like, you know, like I know like we used to drop knees together. Like, I don't tell anymore. Like, I hope that's cool. Like, and there's like there's like telly guilt that it's weird. I just want you to know out there, if you're a telemark skier, that like doesn't like telemark ski that much anymore, like you don't need to apologize. Like it's totally cool. You know, you can move on. You can try other things. You don't even have to telemark all the time. I know that's weird. It's weird for me to say that, but you don't have to telemark ski all the time. But Hannah, we just want you to know, if you're hanging out with Patty O'Connell and he's pressuring you to do things like alpine skiing and you don't want to and you actually want to telemark, we've got friends in Durango, Colorado, and we can connect you. We can connect you to the right people. We just want to make sure you're in a good situation. So you can always call us and we will be a telemark support system, which we often are. Patty O'Connell keeps going on. Hannah has only skied a little more than 2 hours with her heels locked down. It's hard for her to decide which skis to use and when, but maybe not too hard. This is very strange, Patty, because we make alpine turns too. So that's a strange part. She admits that sometimes, especially on a powder day, the uphill telly ski kind of has a life of its own. Sometimes you just know where the slippery little salamander is going to go. Hannah confesses before dropping a bomb. Quote, I'm really excited about my alpine equipment. It's ridiculously fun. I can't wait to go again. Unquote, I swear I hear her knees applaud. So the funny thing is with this whole thing, like, it's suspect. The whole thing's kind of suspect because, yeah, the knee thing, people always go back to the knee thing, and that's kind of funny. I'm glad she's having fun because, Hannah, if you're having more fun on AT gear, go for it. I am supporting you 100%. This is just so bizarre. The slippery salamander thing, you just need to pressure the uphill foot a little bit. That's it. Slippery salamander out the window. So I don't want that. If the slippery salamander is what is getting you, Hannah, in Durango, please pressure the ball of the foot on the uphill ski and just try one more time. Pressure the uphill ski, ball of the foot better. Slippery salamander is gone. I promise. So we're going to finish it up on this. He says, I do not travel by covered wagon or horse or pogo stick. I like Patty O'Connell. I like pogo sticks. Come on, man. When given the choice between sharpening a spear to take down a mammoth or foraging for berries, I walk to the local burger joint. I'm not a lazy person, but I don't enjoy giving myself a task that is inherently harder than it needs to be. Telliers, why do you still lunge your way down the hill when the readily available smiles of alpine skiing wait for you. I know the saying goes, free your heel, free your mind. But perhaps it's time to click your heel and ski for real. That, or make sure to up your visits to the local dispensary. Because as the joke goes, what did the Teleskier say when he ran out of weed? Dude, these bindings suck. Well, there's so much here. Oh boy. I mean, the first thing is, I do want to sharpen a spear and kill a mammoth, don't you? I mean, come on. I mean, and I forage. I mean, like, for real. Like, I actually bought a foraging book a couple years. This, Patty O'Connell, you know me really well. Because I'm like this weird, like, punk rock, I want to kill a mammoth, berry foraging kind of dude. So, and the whole point with this is, when Patty O'Connell says, I'm not a lazy person, Patty O'Connell, when it comes to telemark skiing, you're lazy. That's all there is to it. You can't, and here's the thing, you can't be lazy and be if you're going to telemark ski, you can't be lazy. I mean, that's the thing. You have to get after it because it's hard. And so if you want to do something that requires extra effort, yeah, 100%. Telemark is not for you. And I always say that, like, if you're a beginner out there or you're thinking of getting into telemark, and I love talking to you people out there that are thinking about it, because the first thing I want to do is be honest with you, because I think that's important. And if you're like, this looks hard, I'm going to be like, yeah, this is hard. It's going to take some time. But with modern equipment, now that we're not running from the Brontosaurus on a powder day, it's actually pretty easy. Like, it's easier, and it's pretty easy to master all of the types of turns. Our favorite Christiana turn, meaning the parallel turn, and the telemark turn. And yeah, so I can't respond to the dispensary comment. We live in Utah. This isn't Colorado or other states, but the bindings don't suck, man. And the powder turns are so good. Dude. Patty, dude. The powder turns are so much better. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that little commentary running through that. I actually, it's fun kind of rereading it. It is it's a funny piece. If you read this, it's a good laugh. I'm really hoping that was the objective of that. My hope moving forward, like I said, we're relaunching Telemark Skier. That's where you're going to be able to find media, non-prehistoric media. Although I like old history, you know me, I'm going to throw old history out there. But the reality of it is Telemark is alive and well. It's rocking and rolling. I hope Patty O'Connell, somebody hopefully will pass this to you. You are 100% welcome in Freeheel Life, and we would love to have you there. All jokes aside, my brother, free rentals on me, and come on over and we'll do a little ski day. I would love to get you out and show you some telemark turns, and who knows, maybe it'll speak to you. And maybe it won't, but you are always welcome in our shop. And any alpine skier, snowboarder, telemark skier, snowblader, you're always welcome at our shop. We love everybody, and we're always cool to everybody. And that's our MO. We like to be a welcoming environment to all people, and that way you can come check us out. So, that was a fun little one. So hopefully you guys can check that out. I'll put a link to the article. All the telemark skiers are going to read this, and like, I'm sure the editor, the analytics guy at Ski Mag is going to be like, should we write more about telemark skiing? Like, we got a lot of fired up people here. I know you guys are passionate, and that's really what this is all about. So I love you guys. This has been a fun week of chatting. I hope you have a fantastic week as we head into the spring. Hopefully you got some extra turns left in you before it's all said and done. Like I said, we'll be open till April 16th. We got the Smelly Knee Pad on the 11th, and it's going to be a good time. You can still check out freeheellife.com as always. Like I said, we're going to be dropping some new stuff every month all through the spring and summer. We still got a few demo skis for sale, and we've still got plenty of used gear. If you're trying to find a good deal, kind of ending it out, thinking about next year. Telemarkskier.com. Keep your eyes and ears peeled. We're going to, you can't peel your ears, but keep your eyes peeled, your ears open. We're going to be relaunching that thing. Craig Dostie at the helm, the OG of Telemark Skier magazine, the guy who actually started it, is coming back to lead the editorial department, and we are going to be rocking that with some premium content, and we will love to have your support. So keep an eye on that. You can email me directly, podcast@freeheellife.com, and tell me what you like, what you hate, that I should be nicer to Patty O'Connell, whatever you want to do. It's your prerogative, and just get after it. Stay in touch. Thanks for listening. If you have a second, rate and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts if that's your platform. That kind of helps us get a little bump up. And guess what? Until next week, spread Telemark always, my friends. Peace out.